Well, it's almost Turkey Day. And you know what people here in the South do on Turkey Day morning? They go deer hunting. Well, not everybody, but for a lot of guys, this is their big weekend, and it's hunting season. So they go turkey or not turkey hunting. They go deer hunting. I like deer hunting. I don't go on Thanksgiving morning, but I like to go deer hunting. It's not everybody's thing, and I don't plan my life around it, but I like to go a couple of times a year. And to be honest, I'm usually going back empty-handed, but I always have the experience of being up there in that tree on a cold, frosty morning, watching the sunrise, hoping it'll bring a little heat into the situation. I've never brought back that trophy buck. For one thing, I'm not looking for a trophy buck, but that's what everybody says when they don't bring home the trophy buck. But really, I'm just looking for a little meat to put in the freezer for the year. For another thing, I'm not what you'd call a skilled hunter. I like to do it. I like to be out there, but tracking and knowing all the signs, I know a few, but I'm just not that skilled. But I could be. With all the technology out there, technology, it brings a lot of hassles for people my age, but it also brings a lot of benefits. One of the things that I benefit from greatly with our modern day technology is the how-to videos. You can find them on YouTube, or maybe some other sources. If you've never been deer hunting, then all you've got to do is type in how to kill a deer or how to hunt deer, and you'll get advice coming from every part of the world, and you'll have more advice and more information than Carter has pills. If you don't know what that means, look it up. Probably most of the information that you get won't be very helpful, but a lot of it will. And it's not just deer hunting. Obviously, you can get on YouTube and you can YouTube how to build a house, how to fix your plumbing. I don't know who'd want to do that, but you can YouTube that. You can do how to survive in the desert. You can do if you have rat problems or squirrel problems or termite problems or mother-in-law problems, you can get on YouTube and figure out how to fix that. And they'll tell you good answers and bad answers. I wonder how many YouTube videos I'd find if I typed in how to kill a Bible study. Or maybe more importantly, how to kill the study of the Bible. The reason I say more importantly, I saw an article the other day entitled The Death of Bible Study. And it got me to thinking, whoever did it, however it was done, they've done a good job of it. They've killed Bible study for the most part. It's maybe kicking a little bit here and there, but for the most part, Bible study is a dead and dying art. It used to be it still is, one of the great disciplines of God's people, and for good reason. But in a real sense, it's a dying art today. Not just among ourselves as believers, but more, not among the unbelievers, but even more importantly among believers, or more tragically, I might say, among believers. I don't suppose we could say that Bible study has been killed by any one thing or any one person, just as there are many ways by which a human might die: a car accident, a drug overdose, a redneck saying, "Hey, y'all, watch this," old age, even murder. There's just so many ways that a human being might die. And in like manner, there are a lot of ways in which that has brought about the death of the study of the Bible. One of the instruments of death is a lack of desire. Do you remember Sunday school? Oh, it still exists. Most churches provide some form of Sunday school. They don't call it that so much anymore. They call it small group studies or something like that. But for the most part, it's a real challenge for churches to get people to come to Bible study or to Bible school or to Sunday school. Some churches offer Bible school under the cloak of daycare or preschool, and kids will come not so much out of desire, but because parents need a place to put the kids, and churches often provide that place at a lower cost. So we get kids to teach the Bible, and they like it. The problem is that even if there is success with the kids, the parents still have no desire to join in. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Sunday school has died or is dying because of lack of desire to study the Bible, because people today don't think the Bible has anything to offer them in how to deal with life, which is terribly, terribly a mistaken view of the Bible, a misunderstanding of the Bible. And the worst part is that this idea, this thought is among people who claim to be disciples of Christ. Somebody says, but Bible study, Bible class is so boring. I already know all of that stuff. Or that they always talk about Old Testament and kings whose names I can't pronounce and dates and times from long ago. Somebody says, what do you want? Me to come to 2 hours of church? One's not enough? Even though we just sat at a 4-hour ball game yesterday, we can't sacrifice on the Lord's Day a couple of hours to be in communion with him. It's a shame, it is. But to be honest, I don't know how to fix lack of desire. My mom sent up a piece of pumpkin pie last night. She baked two, one for an occasion and one just to have. And so she sent me up a piece because she's a nice, sweet mom and she wants her nice little boy to be big and fat. And so she sent me up a piece of pumpkin pie. But the problem is, I don't like pumpkin pie. When somebody says pie, pumpkin's not the thing that enters my mind. I'm thinking cherry pie or cherry cream cheese pie. I'm thinking fried apple pies. I'm thinking a lot of different pies, but pumpkin doesn't even come on my radar. My son Martin, on the other hand, is likely to take pumpkin pie when there are other better, well, in my opinion, other better options out there. But me, I'm not digging it. I know you can't say digging it anymore, but I'm not. And I don't know how you fix that. Even if you're my mom and you make a special effort to send me a piece of pumpkin pie, I'm still not going to desire it. I'll eat it, or at least a piece of it, but I'm not going to order it from the menu. The same is true of Bible study for a lot of Christians. They don't hate it. They just don't desire it. If it's on the church menu, they're probably not going to order it. How do you fix that? Do you make a better pumpkin pie? Do you get a clown to serve it? Do you serve pumpkin pie and call it pastel de calabaza? It might get them to try it again, but likely they won't come back for seconds and they'll leave half of it on the plate. When it comes to desire, it's a heart issue. If I'm ever going to like or eat or desire pumpkin pie, my taste buds must change. My passion for pumpkin pie must change. In the same way, for someone who has no desire for Bible study, something's got to change on the inside. Their heart must be changed, and that can only happen, ironically, through the study of the Bible. Another thing that kills Bible study is lack of application. This actually really helps with the desire part of it. Paul, in the book of Colossians, or the letter that he wrote to the Colossian church, he prayed that the Colossians, and speaking of us as Christians today as well, he prayed that they may, or we may, be filled with the knowledge of his will in all wisdom and all spiritual understanding. Colossians chapter 1, verse 9. Along with the knowledge, the putting in of the information, the Bible study part, there must be an all wisdom part, may be filled with the knowledge of his will, God's word, in all wisdom. In other words, just knowing what it says does not accomplish a whole lot if I don't use wisdom. And for lack of better words, we'll call that common sense. If I don't use common sense to discern the principle that's found in the information, that found in what the scripture is trying to teach. You know the story of David and Goliath, right? Great. Now, what did you learn from that? What principle was God trying to teach you in that story? You know the story about the walls of Jericho coming down? Sure you do. You sing a song about it sometimes, about the children walking around the wall and the walls came tumbling down. And what about that story about Moses going way down in Egypt and to tell old Pharaoh that let my people go? Maybe you're too young for that. But anyway, the story, we know them, or at least a lot of them, but what's the principle? Do we just have a lump of knowledge up there and we don't know how to use it? There's no application for it. There's no relation of that story to what's happening in life or how do I deal with life? if there's not, if we can't make those connections, if we don't use wisdom to make those connections, then you're right. Bible study is not going to do a lot of good. If it only results in a collection of unusable facts, people get tired of it. I don't take algebra classes. My algebra teachers or people throughout my life have told me that you'll never really use it. Now, algebra teachers don't really say that. They believe that you do use it, and maybe they're in some sense that you do, but I didn't do well in algebra. In fact, I didn't do well at all in algebra, and I've gotten to be my age, whatever that is, without having to use algebra, because to me, it's an unusable fact. It's a series of unusable facts, at least in my way of thinking. And our heads can only hold on to so many unusable facts. If we're not gaining wisdom, if it's not going to help me, then we just let it go in one and out the other. And that's what happens with the study of the Bible. We don't use wisdom to apply the principles that we found. Paul's prayer in Colossians is that we be filled with knowledge of his will in all wisdom. But then he adds one more. He says, and in all spiritual understanding. Well, what's that? What is that? What is spiritual understanding? Well, spiritual understanding is, in addition to using wisdom to know how to apply it, it is then applying that. Let's say the principle behind the walls of Jericho falling down is that if you faithfully obey God, God will faithfully work in your life. He will do what he promises. He will do what I can't do by myself. That's the principle, right? So how do I apply that? I've learned the fact, the story of the walls of Jericho. Now I've learned the principle through wisdom. I've learned to understand that if I do what God says do, he will fulfill his promises. So how do I apply that principle? You get it? That's spiritual understanding. And then notice what Paul does next in the same text, the same prayer. After praying that we will be filled with knowledge, get the facts, and in all wisdom, learn how to apply it, and in all spiritual understanding, apply it, then something will happen. Look, you will walk worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing him, being fruitful in every good work, increasing in the knowledge of God, strengthened with all might according to his glorious power for the all patience and long suffering with joy. The fruit of applying the principles that we gain from Bible study is a faithful Christian life, a worthy Christian walk. A life that is fully pleasing to God, a life that is full of good works, a life that is steadily increasing in your knowledge of who God is, a life that is strengthened by the power of God so that I can endure the struggles of life with joy. If we don't kill Bible study, it will result in joy, a joy-filled life with God. That's the principle. The spiritual understanding is, don't kill Bible study. Seek it. Let it make you thrive rather than just exist in this world. Allow it to motivate you to doing the good works that God intends for you to do. And when you do that, you will learn more about God and what he's really about, and your life will just be filled with joy. That's a promise from God. That's not me saying this to encourage you to study the Bible. That's God's promise. Well, I hope you'll go out there and have a great day today. And when Turkey Day comes, I hope you'll, if you're up there in a cold tree watching the sunrise, I hope you'll be sure to thank God that you were there to witness another one. My name is Mike Underwood, and I'm here to glorify God, because if no one sees him, no one will. God bless.